What's your happiest childhood memory? Maybe it's blowing out birthday candles, or learning to ride a bike. No, it isn't. There's a good chance our memories never happen the way we remember them. In fact, every time you've remembered something over the years, you've been changing it. Memory is living tissue, and it changes through a strict 3-step process every single time you use it. First, reactivation. You think of a memory, especially a painful one, like a time you felt rejected or deeply unsafe, as a file saved on a computer. For that file to change, you first have to double-click it. You have to consciously bring it to mind. The second that old emotional memory becomes active, something incredible happens at a molecular level. The chemical bonds holding it together literally unlock. The memory becomes unstable, vulnerable, and completely open to edit. While the file is open, step 2, a prediction error. This is a mismatch. Your brain is a prediction machine. It opens that old memory expecting the same old outcome, expecting the world to be dangerous or people to reject you. But suddenly, you experience something in the present moment that completely contradicts that old expectation. You get a new piece of information, or a sudden realization, that proves your old way of thinking completely wrong. The brain realizes its prediction failed. Then, safety and restabilization. If the sudden shock of new information happens, while you're in a state of genuine safety, the magic happens. Your brain uses that moment of calm to unlearn the old trauma. It rewires the neural network, updates the file with this new, healthier perspective, and saves it back into your long-term memory. And there you go. That old memory is now a new memory. The old version is overwritten, the memory is saved, but it's fundamentally changed. Which means the version of the past you hold on to today isn't what actually happened. It's just the latest rewrite. Now this sounds like a terrifying design flaw. It means we're walking around with a brain that constantly lies to us. But is it actually? If keeping an exact record of the past is so important, why did natural selection give us a system that constantly rewrites it? See, evolution doesn't care about historical accuracy. It cares about survival. If our memory worked like a rigid, unchangeable video file, we could only use our past experiences to handle situations that are identical to what we've already been through. By making memory reconstructive, evolution gave us a Lego set instead of a solid statue. The brain intentionally breaks the past into flexible, bite-sized components, so it can recombine them to stimulate, predict, and plan for hypothetical futures. In 2007, Dr. James Nairn, an evolutionary psychologist, ran this fascinating experiment. He took a group of people and split them into teams. Each team was shown the exact same list of random, mundane words, things like truck, chair, or apple, flashing on a screen for 5 seconds each. But before the words appeared, each team was given a completely different mindset. The first group was told to imagine being stranded in the grasslands of a foreign savanna, where they had to find food, water, and dodge predators. The second group was told a modern control story. Imagine you are packing up and moving into a new apartment. As the words flashed by, both groups had to rate on a scale of 1 to 5 how useful each item would be for the specific scenario. Immediately afterward, Nairn throws a curveball. He gave them a quick distractor game to clear their short-term memory, and then hit them with a surprise test. Write down as many of those random words as you can remember. The results were definitive. Merely shifting the brain into a survival mindset unlocked a completely different level of retention, leaving the modern control group far behind. Nairn concluded that our memory systems are fundamentally tuned by natural selection to prioritize survival data. From an evolutionary standpoint, a perfect literal memory is a massive waste of biological energy. It requires immense storage. Reconstructive memory allows the brain to compress data. It discards the useless fluff, keeps only the gist, and relies on general knowledge to rebuild the rest on demand. But if the brain predicts rather than records, what does that say about perception and the self? We like to think that our senses work like a camera. Light hits our eyes, sound waves hit our ears, and that data travels up into our brains to paint a picture of the world. But the fact is, the brain is locked inside a dark, silent skull. It cannot directly see or hear anything. So instead of passively recording the world, it runs a continuous, top-down simulation of reality based on past data. It doesn't wait for sensory information, it predicts it. Your actual senses are only used to check its work, sending up prediction errors when the real world doesn't match the brain's internal script. When this predictive machinery works smoothly, we call it reality. But we can see exactly how this illusion is manufactured by looking at what happens when the code breaks down. Take schizophrenia, for example. The system gives far too much weight to its internal predictions. The top-down simulation becomes so dominant that it completely overrides the actual sensory feedback coming from our eyes and ears. The brain expects to hear a voice or see a pattern, so it simply generates. It ignores the silence of the room, leading to a profound, waking hallucination. The internal prediction becomes the reality. The exact opposite happens in autism. The autistic brain struggles to build or trust those top-down predictions, instead of using past schemas to smooth over the environment. It treats every single sensory input, a flickering fluorescent light, a distant hum, the texture of a shirt, as brand new, unpredictable, and potentially dangerous. Without an internal simulation to filter the noise, the world becomes a chaotic, uncompressed torrent of raw data, leading to agonizing sensory overload. What this tells us is that our perception of reality isn't a direct window into objective reality. It is what neuroscientists call a controlled hallucination. And if your perception of the outside world is a hallucination, then your sense of self, the feeling of being a solid, unchanging entity sitting behind your eyes, is the biggest hallucination of all. You aren't a static observer recording a life. You are a fluid, fragile prediction, generated millisecond by millisecond, by a brain just trying to survive the dark. The self does not actually exist. There is no stable, physical entity inside your head that is you. What you experience as your identity is actually a highly complex, internal prediction model generated by the brain, a self model. Because your brain constructs this stimulation so incredibly fast and smoothly, you don't perceive the model itself. You perceive through it. You mistake the simulation for reality. In a sense, you're like a pilot flying a drone who has completely forgotten they are wearing a virtual reality headset, fully believing that they are the drone itself.